How are you? How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, I'm super excited for festive period. First
Me
year,
too.
not first year, we had actually last year, but first year it's gonna feel proper like
Oh,
Christmas.
cute. That's going to be so nice. I know. And then I'll be heavily expecting by the time Christmas comes around. And then next year, I'm sure will be absolute chaos. But yeah, all excited. But we wanted to come on and share some kind of top tips around the festive period because I appreciate we're in November now and people are going to start going to Christmas parties. And for some people, this time of year can be quite overwhelming. They feel as if they perhaps need to undo all of the good work that they've done leading up until this point. And it absolutely doesn't need to be that way if that's not what you want it to be. For me, for Christmas this year, I will be focusing on can I balance my plate on my belly? And that is as far as planning goes, but obviously it's not the same every single year. So yeah, what top tips have you got around those that maybe want to stay a little bit more consistent but still enjoy kind of the festivities and Christmas period and things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So my three top tips, in no particular order. So first one is joy of movement. So a lot of people get time off over Christmas, or they may have booked a certain amount of holidays. It lands quite well this year. Enjoy movement. So on those days, get out doing the nice winter walks, down Cleethorpes or around the hills or wherever you need to be for people local to us. And yeah, just enjoy it. Make a positive start to the day. I think if you make that movement in the morning, for me especially, I feel like you're already setting the tone for the day.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you've got some more luxurious foods in your cupboard in the morning, it can be like, oh, we won't cook breakfast. We'll go for, I don't know, whatever snacks we've got lying about. So just enjoying movement and not thinking, oh, I'll start the gym in January or I'll start doing X form of activity in January. Now's a great time to action. You've got downtime, hopefully a little bit lower stress because you're off. If that's not the case, then obviously, and you are working, it's a super busy period. If you work in retail or whatever scenario you work in, I think movement again is still key, especially if you're going to be having some more indulgent treats, if you're going out, maybe having a little bit more alcohol than what you used to. Having that movement and activity is great for the mind and the body. So that would be my tip number one. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Tip number two, I would probably suggest being really inclusive with treats and indulgent food. And don't deprive yourself of those foods because you're only going to want them more, more, more. But allow them to not overpower you. And the way in which I would do this or help my clients do this is going into events already 70 to 80% full. So if you're going for a Christmas meal or something like that, and you want to have a good enjoyment, not just of the food, but of the time of the social event. If you go in already satisfied and moderately full, you're not waiting for the doors to swing open for your food to come out, going, is that my food? Is that my food? If you are going in absolutely ravenous, starving, you've put that food on a pedestal, I'm not going to have dinner because I'm going out for the evening meal. And really restricted yourself through the day, what will happen is when you get to that meal, after waiting such a long time, the restaurant's really busy, you'll get that meal, you will forget your surroundings, you won't be listening to the conversations that you haven't catched up with people for a couple of weeks or whatever. You won't be enjoying the moment, you'll just be devouring the food. You'll probably eat it quick. It's quite rich. You'll get bellyache, and then you'll think, oh, yeah, but you get that dopamine effect of wanting more, more, more. You have a pudding, you've had, or a dessert, as some people may call it down south. You get that dopamine effect where you lose track of how full you are and end up really overindulging eating. And then what
Mm.
happens is you get on that cycle and start the day tomorrow in a restrictive phase because you go, oh my God, I ate so much last night. I'm not going to have breakfast. I'm not going to have this. And then by 3 p.m. the following day, again, it starts because you're so hungry. So
Mhm.
definitely making sure that you're getting your protein in throughout the day. Going into those meals, like I'm all right because I had something at 3 p.m. I had a yogurt bowl at 3 p.m. So I'm fine
Mhm.
to have an adequate meal at 7 p.m. Um,
Yeah.
so I think that would be number two. And
Okay.
then number three would be prioritizing rest, and getting enough sleep because with a lot of social events, you're out, um, burning the candle at both ends. You're not going to be wanting to then prep your food, or preparation might be a little bit lax compared to your normal routine. If you're tired, you're going to want to be chasing those easy, quick fixes. Your body's going to say, I need energy right now. And if you've got loads of sugary things available, you're going to go to them, get that peak, and then you're going to crash. And the only way that you're probably going to pick yourself up is by eating more, 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 which then
Mhm.
doesn't enable you to achieve the goal that you've got in your mind. So set yourself up for success, manage stress, manage sleep, and just think about the enjoyment, the social events, the family, obviously, like we all want to enjoy. So yeah, they're my three.
Yeah, I completely echo all of them, and I probably definitely that person that sits in the restaurant and is like, oh, is that my food? Or I'm looking around at the people, it's like I'm starving, and then you just kind of woof it down, don't you, when it comes? But yeah, I think mine would be definitely around the movement. I mean, for me, around sort of Christmas, obviously it is a little bit more busy for a lot of people. You are so more, you've like that. I do have to tend to plan my exercise in a little bit more and make sure that I'm kind of planning at the beginning of the week, right? Okay, I'm going to get this in, I'm going to get, X, Y, Z in. But even involving, some of that movement as well. Like we'll always make sure that we go out for a walk on Boxing Day, things like that. Um, because for me, don't get me wrong, I don't mind, a little bit of a sluggish day on Christmas Day, but apart from that, like my mind needs to be up and active and moving. So it's just, I suppose, planning that in as you normally would do. Um, I think as well on the back of what you'd mentioned about, so second point about the not putting foods on pedestals is that sometimes we tend to like start to buy Christmas food in now, but you're like, oh, but you can't eat that yet because it's Christmas food. And then
Mm,
you almost get to the week of Christmas and you've got so much food in the house, and then you want it out by January because everyone's like, well, I need to pack on it in January. So yeah, not kind of it's not overbuying food, but if you're going to have it in the cupboards, then just allow yourself to have it in dribs and drabs rather than waiting until the Christmas week where you then almost feel as if you do
yeah,
have to overindulge, and again kind of putting it on that pedestal of, oh, don't eat it yet because it's not the week of Christmas as well, is
yeah.
something I've found. My mum is like, oh, she's like, don't eat that, they're Christmas chocolates. I'm like, I just want to eat them now.
Yeah, I totally get that. And just another thing, what you to touch on what you were saying there, that now there's so many things that are coming out and the different tastes, different textures. Um,
Mm,
Aldi, Tesco, Marks and Spencer, they're all in competition with these fun, exciting, creative recipes. I think just remember, does it actually taste good?
mm,
Because marketing idolizes it, and sometimes it can be really synthetic, and you be eating it, you're like, actually, am I enjoying this? Like, is this good? Is this a bit of me? Like, would I pick this again? And I just think to catch yourself in that moment, that would be talking about it. And a lot of things that I speak with my clients is it's okay to bin food. Like, we are
mhm.
not a human dustbin. You can put food in the bin, which I think that people are
Yeah.
quite scared of doing. The thing, oh, I don't want to waste it. Or again, if someone else is enjoying it, then pass it to them. Or
Mm,
just I would rather eat something more of something that I truly like
yeah, that you enjoy.
rather than indulging in something that isn't really giving me much satisfaction. I'd rather have
Yeah.
peanut butter on toast because I absolutely love it
Love
rather
it. Yeah.
than
I
synthetic
go to at the minute
chocolate.
is peanut butter and apple. I'm just obsessed with at the minute. I really, really love it. I'd love to eat all of that. I think the other thing as well, so third top tip is just kind of, I suppose it comes in with managing expectations, but just go eat yourself. Like if you do have, a couple of days during December where you do find yourself overindulged, then be okay with that and see it for what it is. It doesn't necessarily mean that the rest of the week or the rest of December has to then, kind of fall off the wagon and you're gonna do all of that up and undo all of that, sorry, up until January, and then you've got to go again. Because I think sometimes it's that, and it's everyone's New Year's resolution, isn't it? Of I'm gonna join, I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to start exercising more. I'm going to start not eating New Year's resolution. I'm not going to say. Another thing that really helps me is if you are somebody who typically, likes to have a bit of you're out multiple nights out or whatever during the festive period, or even when you're not, just on a normal weekend, this really helps me is when I'm hungover, I know what kind of foods that I want. It'll be like full English normally. It'll be something to soak up a little bit of the alcohol the next day. And it really helps me to almost think about and plan for that hangover before I know that it happens, so that then I will avoid going to a McDonald's or out for a full breakfast, because I've got things in the house that will absolutely serve me and just do as good as a job. Like instead of a fry up, I'll make going out for a fry up, I'll make like a healthier version of it. So, like your turkey bacon, your chicken sausages, and that still does what it needs to do. Um, and perhaps as well, if you are out, a little bit more than perhaps you would be, and again, drinking is a part of that, if that's something that you choose to do. Depending on what kind of drinks that you like, then I would always recommend or have a couple of nights where I maybe having waters in between, or
Mhm.
don't have an awful hangover the next day, or even just on certain nights like lower calorie drinks, so it's not all kind of cocktails and wines and prosecco and all that kind of stuff. But if that's something that people choose to do, that's okay, but don't put yourself the next day from it. Just get back on routine, because what's the point in going out and enjoying something but then punishing yourself the next day?
Yeah, absolutely. 100% agree. And I
But
think
I was just going to say, I think what's interesting is everything that we've spoken about there. We're talking obviously about it from a Christmas or a festivity period because people are out and socializing, they've got more plans, but things can be implemented at any time of the year.
absolutely, yeah, 100%. I was just gonna say actually, a lot of my ladies that have been with me a long term now, like they don't look at life as like, oh, that's a Christmas festive period. I'm gonna start be good in January.
Oh,
Because they've worked on themselves. It's they know how to manage habits, expectations. They've got habits now that have been implemented so well, and they know what works for them. Like you just said, they've got their staple foods that they know, serve them, satisfy them. They've got their favorites that support them for what they want to do, whatever they're training for, so they don't idolize food as much. And that's definitely the clients that have been with me for like, a good amount of time, but it takes a long time to get there. And I think that if you do have a day where you feel a little bit like you've self-sabotaged, just to remind yourself that tomorrow you can be better. And obviously, we're here for support if anyone wants to contact us or ask for any more guidance. But yeah,
yeah.
that's
I
it.
know. I think it's just about not, like you say, if you indulge, much more than you normally would do, being mindful of not going into that kind of negative self-talk the day after either, because that can you start to believe those thoughts, don't you? And you start to believe in the way that you're speaking to yourself, and that can have
Mm.
a bigger impact then on what you then choose to action off the back of that. So yeah, but no, that would be my top tips.
Oh, good. Okay, dokie. We will see you in the next one.